continuous updates till the end. The exciting story starts right now. Big Orange reminds all our supporters, like and subscribe, and you'll make 5 million as soon as you step out the door. I am the ultimate sucker and plot device in an angst novel. I'm so broke I can barely feed myself, yet I keep funding the female lead like a human piggy bank, as her dedicated ATM. First, I gave her money, flowers, and gifts. Then I gave her my eyes, my kidney, and even my daughter. But here's the catch. For a broke loser like me to spend money on the female lead, the prerequisite is that I actually have money. When exactly would I have money? Naturally, whenever the female lead needs it. Holy crap, I think I just found a glitch in the matrix. My childhood friend, Lu Ruyan, accidentally broke a rich guy's fountain pen. She can't afford to pay for it, yet she insists on doing so. With a look of grievance, Lu Ruyan said, "What should I do, G. Boda? The money I have on me can't cover his pen at all." Feeling the part-time wages I just got in my pocket, I couldn't wait to play the simp. I said, "It's okay, Ruyan, I have it. I have the money." Before I could finish my sentence, a basketball flew over and hit me right in the head. Instantly, a rush of memories flooded my mind. It turns out I'm just the tragic, short-lived, first love in a novel, and Lu Ruyan is the female lead. To fit the persona of the tragic first love, I would sacrifice everything for Lu Ruyan. Every time she faces a crisis, I'm the one who lends a helping hand, and what I give her most is money. When she goes blind, I even have to donate my own corneas, to help her see the light again, until I die while saving the male lead. She then blames the male lead, and the two of them start an 800-chapter toxic, angsty romance. Before finally reaching a happy ending, I am literally just a plot device, funding the female lead in my past life, and ultimately using my death to trigger the lead's angst. The student who just threw the basketball ran over to apologize. "I'm so sorry, man. I wasn't paying attention." Before I could even speak, Lu Ruyan got upset. She said disgruntledly, "You hurt someone, and a simple sorry is all you've got. After all, I am her tragic first love. She still takes my side." The student looked deeply apologetic and said, "How about I take you to the infirmary?" With my head full of the plot, I pushed Lu Ruyan aside, looked at him, and said, "It's okay. I'm not hurt. Also, thank you so much. Thank him for waking me up with that ball. Question mark, question mark, question mark." The guy made sure I was really fine, then turned around and left. Lu Ruyan continued to ask me, "Brother G, what did you just say you have?" Clutching my pocket tightly, I said, "I have a part-time job that pays really well. Why don't I introduce you to someone?" Her face instantly filled with disappointment as she said, "Is that all you wanted to say?" "Yeah." I nodded without changing my expression. She pouted and said, "Forget it. It would take forever working part-time to save up enough money. I can't wait that long. Damn it, you're not willing to work part-time to make money, yet you come to leech off mine." The gold digger failed to get any actual help from me, so Lu Ruyan was very disappointed. After all, I used to give her a lot of money. When Lu Ruyan got sick, I paid her medical bills. When Lu Ruyan had no money for food, I topped up her meal card. The celebrity merchandise and concert tickets Lu Ruyan wanted, I worked hard to make money to buy them for her. Even her tuition fees were paid by my parents. Now she broke a rich heir's fountain pen, which is worth 2,000 yuan. That rich heir is the male lead, Ito Makoto. Clearly, Ito Makoto already said it wasn't necessary for her to compensate for that pen. To someone like him, it's just pocket change. It's not that she shouldn't pay him back, but right now, she truly can't afford it. Yet Lu Ruyan didn't have a single penny and insisted on paying him back, saying with an air of high and mighty pride, "I won't take advantage of someone like you. Since I broke your pen, I will definitely compensate you." In the original plot, she took my money, bought a new pen, and gave it to Ito Makoto as compensation, successfully catching the attention of the rich male lead. Ito Makoto was deeply impressed by her unyielding pride. He sighed and said, "She is so resilient and full of life. Poor, yet not insecure. She dares to fight back, and isn't afraid of what others think. She really is such a special girl." When I got home, my mom had already cooked dinner. My dad works out of town all year round and rarely comes home. In the past, Lu Ruyan would usually come to our house to mooch a meal, but she didn't come today. My mom explained. Lu Ruyan said she broke a classmate's pen, and insisted on going out to collect recyclables to make money. Even her grandmother couldn't stop her. Lu Ruyan's family are our neighbors. Her parents died early, and her grandmother raised her by collecting bottles. My parents are soft-hearted, and have always covered her tuition fees. If Lu Ruyan really wanted to make money, washing dishes at a restaurant, after school every day, would earn her way more than collecting plastic bottles. She was doing this nothing more than to put on a show for me, and for my parents. In the past, whenever Lu Ruyan needed money, I would work part-time to make money for her. If she needed a large sum, and I couldn't come up with it, I would shamelessly beg my parents to take money from our family savings. My mom looked at me, hesitating before saying, "Boda, Ruyan is indeed a pitiful child. We couldn't bear to see her suffer either, so we've always supported her schooling. But our family isn't wealthy either. That 10,000 yuan last time was actually borrowed by your dad from someone else. Last month, Lu Ruyan was hospitalized due to illness, which cost 10,000 yuan in medical bills. It was me who begged my parents to help Lu Ruyan pay the money." Feeling guilty, I said, "Mom, I'm sorry. I used to be so thoughtless. Lu Ruyan is neither family nor relative to us, and our family doesn't have that much money to do charity." Hearing this, my mom nodded with relief. She said, "It's good that you understand. I don't know if it was due to the plot's influence, but all these years, my parents have been covering Lu Ruyan's tuition, while her living expenses have always been subsidized by me. My parents worked hard just to provide me with a good life, yet I felt bad for Lu Ruyan, worrying she wouldn't eat or dress well, and would rather starve myself just to give her money to spend. Now that I have awakened, I will no longer take my parents' hard-earned blood and sweat money to support this so-called female lead." In the original plot, after I died, Lu Ruyan relied on Ito Makoto's support to achieve her dreams, and started her own career. Later, my dad had an accident at the construction site, and urgently needed surgery. My mom went to Lu Ruyan to borrow money, but she was kicked out. With eyes full of indifference, Lu Ruyan said, "Back when I was dirt poor, you guys looked down on me. Even when I was sick and hospitalized, you wouldn't spend a dime to treat me. In the end, it was Brother G who knelt down and begged you, before you were willing to give me charity. Even if I forgive you, G Boda will never forgive you." Thinking of this, even if I were dead, would be shocked back to life by pure anger. She never considered that my family's financial situation was just average, and we couldn't possibly produce that much money at all, nor did she ever mention my parents' funding her schooling for so many years, let alone remembering that she grew up eating the food my mom cooked. She watched with her own eyes as my dad died in the hospital, while my mom grew old with no one to support her, and died a lonely, miserable death. I took out my part-time wages and handed them to my mom. It was exactly 2,000 yuan, no more, no less. My mom frowned and scolded, "Why did you go to work part-time again? At your age, you should focus on your studies. Our family isn't short of this little bit of money from you." Although my parents couldn't give me a wealthy life, they wouldn't go so far as to make me go out and work part-time for money. I worked hard part-time only to give the money to Lu Ruyan, acting as a pure ATM. I said, "Mom, I won't do it again." My mom originally didn't want my money, but I insisted on giving it to her anyway. I was worried that if I had a sudden lapse in judgment, I would give the money to Lu Ruyan again. The next morning, I went to school with Lu Ruyan. There were dark circles under her eyes. She had obviously been collecting bottles all night. Brother G, my grandmother said all these bottles only sold for 5 yuan. Lu Ruyan is the female lead after all. I didn't know if offending her would bring me bad luck, so I could only continue to act like her simp just like before, coaxing her and supporting her. I encouraged her, saying, "It's okay. If you work hard, you'll save up enough eventually. I believe you can do it." Emotional support counts as support, too. I saw someone selling jianbingguizi by the side of the road. I was just about to go buy breakfast. Lu Ruyan said again, "Uncle and aunt give you 200 yuan for living expenses every week. Brother G, can you lend it to me first?" He added, "I will definitely pay you back." I decisively chose between the 5 yuan jianbingguizi and the 50-cent steamed buns. I made my choice. I said, "Boss, give me 2 steamed buns." Then, looking troubled, I looked at Lu Ruyan. I said, "Ruyan, all my living expenses have been confiscated. My mom only gave me 2 yuan to buy breakfast today. You also know that because you were sick last time. My dad borrowed 10,000 yuan from someone else. It hasn't been paid off yet." Her face stiffened. She didn't know what else to say. I handed both buns over to Lu Ruyan. I said, Ruyan, even though I don't have that much money, and I only have 2 yuan, I'm willing to give it all to you. I still put on that deeply affectionate look. My eyes completely filled with her. Touched, Lu Ruyan said, Brother Ji, you are still the best to me. But smelling the buns, she politely declined. She hated chive-stuffed buns the most. On the way, I watched Lu Ruyan scrolling through her phone. My feelings were complicated. I had liked Lu Ruyan since I was a kid. Now, I couldn't tell if it was true love or just the script setting. But Lu Ruyan had always known how I felt. She neither rejected me, nor gave me a clear answer. She had absolutely no sense of boundaries when she was with me. She enjoyed my kindness to her. But her heart belonged to Ito Makoto. When I died, she was heartbroken, viewing Ito Makoto as the killer, and wanting to avenge me, as if she truly had inseparable feelings for me. I didn't believe it, not even a bit. After school in the afternoon, Lu Ruyan continued to collect bottles. I didn't have to work part-time to make money anymore, so I felt a lot more relaxed. Suddenly, a dog ran up to me. It bit the cuff of my pants. I lifted my leg, trying to pull it away. But it looked at me with its watery eyes. Instantly, I couldn't bear to do it. It might be a stray dog from nearby. I took out the half bun left over from the morning from my bag and fed it. Just then, a woman not far away suddenly shouted at me, Son! Mom finally found you. I was speechless. Was she calling me? No. I looked at the dog at my feet and asked, Are you the son? Grateful, the woman held my hand. She said, Young man, thank you so much. My son has been missing for several days. Thanks to you for finding him. I scratched my head and said, he ran over here by himself. She said, he must be starving. You even fed him. I was speechless. The woman picked up the puppy, on the verge of crying from emotion, not minding the dirt on the puppy at all. The puppy also nuzzled her arm dependently. To thank me, the woman stuffed all the cash from her bag into my hands. A stack of 100 yuan bills. It wasn't that I didn't want the money, but I just had a bad feeling about this. I said, I didn't do anything. I really can't take this money. But she pulled out a missing dog flyer from her pocket. She said, I posted flyers everywhere. It says on there whoever helps me find my son, I will give a 2,000 yuan reward. I can't break my word. Another 2,000. The woman forcefully stuffed the money into my hands, and then left with the dog. Unbelieving, I counted the cash in my hand. Exactly 20 bills. Could this so-called plot have its own consciousness? It just had to force me to give Lu Ruyan 2,000 yuan for nothing. Brother G, what are you doing? Lu Ruyan's voice suddenly rang out. My scalp went numb instantly. I clutched the big handful of cash tightly in my hand, having no time to hide it at all. Before I could say anything, she walked toward me. Lu Ruyan asked, Brother G, what are you holding in your hand? Holy crap, I'd rather be holding anything else. The moment Lu Ruyan saw the money, her eyes lit up instantly. She said, Brother G, you gathered the money. I knew you couldn't bear to watch me work hard collecting bottles every day. How much money is here? Is it enough? While giving her a perfunctory smile, I was thinking of a strategy in my mind. Then I curled my lips into a smile and said, Ruyan, this is the money I made from working part-time for several months. I originally wanted to give it to you. Seeing her reaching out to take the money away, I shifted the conversation and said, but to pay off that 10,000 yuan as soon as possible, my dad has been working overtime for a long time. I want to help ease his burden. Lu Ruyan's face stiffened. She said, I know it's not easy for uncle to work. She said, but if I don't return the money to Ito Makoto, that rich second-generation guy will definitely cause trouble for me. Can you help me, please? We can figure out another way for uncle later. I lowered my head in a dilemma, secretly complaining in my heart. That sounds so nice. What do you mean by, we can figure out another way? Doesn't that just mean letting me figure it out by myself? And claiming Ito Makoto would cause trouble for her. If I didn't know the plot, I would have actually believed her. Breaking a fountain pen was like losing a strand of hair to him. Her eyes turned red as she said, Good brother, just help me out. We will be family in the future anyway. Of course I'll take good care of my uncle. He always says these ambiguous things. In the past, hearing this would have made me so happy I'd be over the moon. But now, if I reject her directly, it would mean completely burning bridges with Lu Ruyan. If we fall out just like that, I'd still feel bad about all the money I spent on her before. but giving her the money makes me feel even more damn frustrated. Suddenly, I had a flash of inspiration. Since this plot consciousness is so sharp, why don't I make a big gamble? So I smiled, nodded, and said, "All right." She happily threw herself into my arms and said, "Brother G, I knew you were the best to me." I took Lu Ruyan to buy the fountain pen, but I didn't give it to her. I said, "Ruyan, tomorrow I'll go return the fountain pen to Itamokoto myself, and while I'm at it, I'll warn him not to bully you ever again." "That wouldn't be right, would it?" she said in a conflicted tone. "Brother G, forget it. That guy is arrogant and overbearing. I'm afraid you'll get hurt." She flusteredly grabbed the fountain pen and put it in her bag. I nodded and said, "All right then, take care of yourself, Ruyan." Lu Ruyan didn't want me to go, but I insisted on going. The next day, after morning study period, I walked to the door of her classroom. I happened to see Lu Ruyan carefully handing the fountain pen to her desk mate, Itamokoto. Itamokoto didn't expect her to actually return it. With a face full of disbelief, he said, "No way, I already said it was fine. Why did you actually buy one?" Lu Ruyan said seriously, "Even though a fountain pen isn't expensive, it's still your property after all." I was speechless. Without waiting for him to continue, I walked straight in. "I'm not playing the tragic white moonlight today. I'm going to be the male antagonist." "Hey, you're Itamokoto, right? It's just a fountain pen. Did you really have to press her so hard for it? You've been bullying Lu Ruyan all this time, insulting her, and harassing her. She's such a proud girl, yet she actually had to ask me to borrow money. This is the money I saved up from working part-time for so long. Are you satisfied now? Don't think you can humiliate us just because you have some damn money, haha." My expression was malicious and fierce. My tone was arrogant and overbearing, and my posture was condescending. I'd give myself a perfect score for this performance. What? Itamokoto hadn't fully processed the meaning of my words yet, but Lu Ruyan pulled me back first. With a panicked expression, she said, "G Boda, what are you doing here? Don't talk nonsense." I interrupted her, and said with a righteous and solemn face, "Ruyan, don't be afraid. You don't owe him anything anymore. You don't have to endure his bullying anymore, G Boda." She got anxious. I had ruined the beautiful image she had in Itamokoto's heart. I froze on the spot instantly. I said, "Ruyan, I'm speaking up for you." "Enough." Itamokoto spoke up to stop her and asked, "Hey, classmate, who are you?" Lu Ruyan spoke up first. "He's just my brother," Itamokoto said through gritted teeth. "Lu Ruyan, I never forced you to pay me back. If you didn't have money, forget it. But you actually made up rumors about me, played the victim, and borrowed money." Having been falsely accused by me, he was full of anger, so his tone naturally became harsh. Lu Ruyan hurriedly explained, "G Boda is my brother. We're family. How can you call it borrowing? As for the rest, it's just his misunderstanding." Then she glared at me again and said, "G Boda, Itamokoto isn't the kind of person you think he is. Apologize to him right now." I had no choice but to say, "I'm sorry," humbly and humiliatingly, and then left in embarrassment. After returning to the classroom, I couldn't hide the smirk on my face. After making such a scene, let's see how Itamokoto could still develop feelings for Lu Ruyan. Unless she's hopelessly infatuated. Wait, no. In the original plot, he seemed to be exactly that kind of hopelessly infatuated guy. A love-struck brain is a man's best dowry. That phrase was practically made to describe her. At noon, Lu Ruyan specifically brought my favorite dishes to see me. Her eyes were slightly red, and she said pitifully, "Brother G, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to treat you like that this morning." I frowned and buried my head in my food, ignoring her. I had to handle this measure perfectly. After all, a simp can have a temper, but not too much of one. Seeing this, Lu Ruyan explained to me in a gentle and polite tone, "You don't understand, Itamokoto cares a lot about his reputation. You criticized him to his face. He will definitely hold a grudge against a rich kid like you, hypocritical and shameless. He pretends to be generous on the surface, but he'll secretly find people to retaliate against you." I asked in confusion, "Really?" She said, "Yes. So Brother G, stay away from him from now on. I don't want you to get hurt because of me." She looked like she was doing it all for my own good. I said with concern, "I understand, but then isn't it very dangerous for you to be his desk mate?" Lu Ruyan shook her head and said, "It's fine, Brother G. As long as you're okay, that's all that matters." I can take care of myself. In the evening, Lu Ruyan came to my house for dinner as usual. This was a good opportunity. While she wasn't paying attention, I secretly took her phone out of her backpack. I made an excuse to go out and buy something. First, I threw the phone on the ground and stomped on it a few times. Then I picked up a rock and smashed it hard. After trying to turn it on, I found out the phone was indeed broken. I casually tossed it by the roadside, pretending it was accidentally damaged. Finally, I leisurely went back home. My $2,000 couldn't just go down the drain. When Lu Ruyan came to me holding the broken phone, I almost couldn't stop myself from laughing out loud. I frowned deeply and said, "Ruyan, how did this happen?" She pursed her lips and said, "I accidentally dropped it by the roadside, and I don't know who stepped on it and broke it." I sighed and said, "That's incredibly bad luck." Lu Ruyan took my hand and said, "Brother G, I went to the store to ask. They all said it can't be fixed anymore." "It can't be fixed." I brushed her off with a regretful tone. She said, "But without a phone, life is just too inconvenient." I nodded and said, "It really is too inconvenient." He asked, "What should we do then?" I said, "Yeah, what should we do?" Lu Ruyan was speechless and said, "Brother G, what's wrong with you?" I had a blank look on my face and said, "Is something wrong with me?" He actually wanted to ask why I didn't offer to buy her a phone. If it were before, I definitely couldn't bear to see her sad. I sighed and said, "Ruyan, don't worry, I'll help you figure something out." He let out a sigh of relief, but still putting on an act, pitifully said, "It's okay, Brother G, you don't have to put yourself out. I'll work hard picking up bottles to make money." I was speechless. I was just fretting over whether God would send me money, and in what way he would send it to me. When school let out on Friday, Lu Ruyan didn't walk with me. Passing by a restaurant, the owner stopped me. "Young man, looking for a part-time job? The restaurant needs a cleaner. Just come every afternoon." I was speechless. He said, 800 a month. 2 months' salary can buy a phone. I said, "Ma'am, I'm still a student. I don't have time." On Saturday morning, I found a small flyer stuck to my front door. High-paying blood donation hotline. I silently picked up my phone to call the police. Couldn't the money just be delivered right in front of me like last time? The female lead is still waiting to buy a phone. Just when I was about to give up, my mom came back from work and excitedly told me, "Boda, our company organized a raffle. Mom won a brand new phone." Shocked and overjoyed, I covered her mouth. I said, "Mom, it's fine if we just know about this ourselves. Don't spread it around." My mom didn't understand and said, "What are you nervous about? I didn't steal it or rob anyone." I said, "If you talk about it, you'll easily lose your wealth." My superstitious mom said, "That's true," and she said to her, "Come, let me show you this phone. It sells for over 8,000 in stores. It's perfect for you to use." I held the phone and looked at it for a while. TSK. It really is quite expensive. What did Lu Ruyan ever do to deserve this? I said, "Mom, both of our phones were just replaced today. Why don't we send this to Dad to use?" My mom shook her head and said, "You should use it. Your dad and I don't need a smartphone, other than making phone calls." I chuckled and said, "Don't worry about it. It won't go to an outsider anyway. If I switch to a new phone, it wouldn't be good if Lu Ruyan found out." That night, before the courier station closed, I mailed it to my dad. 2 days later, my dad made a video call to me with his new phone. Grinning from ear to ear, he smiled sillily and said, "Son, this phone is really nice, no lagging." By the time Lu Ruyan came to find me, I had almost forgotten about this matter. He said, "Brother G, without a phone, it's so inconvenient for me to contact you." Yeah. I had a sad look on my face. Lu Ruyan was speechless. He was helpless. So she had to take the initiative and say, "Didn't you say before you'd find a way to help me buy a phone?" I nodded and said, "I thought about it." I said, "I couldn't think of anything." Lu Ruyan was speechless. I said, "Ruyan, I will keep trying to find a way. You work hard too. I believe in you." 3 days later, Lu Ruyan bought a second-hand smartphone from somewhere. The screen even had cracks. I knew she could do it on her own efforts. Lu Ruyan didn't look well during this period. It was probably from hunger. Before, when having lunch at the school cafeteria, she only ate boiled cabbage. I felt bad that she wasn't getting enough nutrition, so I always used my own living allowance to top up her meal card for extra food. After awakening to the plot, I brought lunch from home every day to eat in the classroom. If anyone asked, I was just poor. My living allowance wasn't enough. It's almost Makoto Ita's birthday. The days for me to make money are coming soon again. Lu Ruyan's birthday happens to be a week earlier than Makoto Ita's. In the original plot, I pinched pennies, and bought a clover bracelet that Lu Ruyan had her eye on for a long time, over $600. Lu Ruyan turned around and sold it for $500, to buy a pair of sneakers for Makoto Ita. This time, I spent a fortune at a dollar store to buy Lu Ruyan a bottle of paper stars. I said, Ruyan, these are 999 stars that I folded for you with my own hands. Do you like it? Lu Ruyan said with a forced smile, Brother G, is this my birthday gift? I nodded and said, yeah, I stayed up all night to fold this. It represents my sincere feelings for you. Lu Ruyan said speechlessly, thank you, Brother G. Lu Ruyan's family wasn't well off. No one used to celebrate her birthday before. Even the meals were no different from usual. In previous years, I didn't just give gifts. I also bought a big cake specifically for her. Back then, she always said what she cared about was never the gift itself, but the attitude and sincerity. So Lu Ruyan was too embarrassed to criticize me. But her grandmother was different. Her grandmother immediately rolled her eyes, and said in a harsh tone, you have the nerve to give this piece of trash. Even a girl would find it embarrassing. I didn't argue with her. Instead, I looked at Lu Ruyan awkwardly and said, Ruyan. Lu Ruyan pursed her lips and said, my grandmother is getting old. Don't hold it against her. I sighed and said, all right. Since Grandma Lu doesn't like me, I'll leave first. Having said that, ignoring Lu Ruyan's protests, I went home feeling down. When I was a child, Grandma Lu was still very good to me. Whenever there was delicious food, she would save it for me. She would even prepare red envelopes for me during the new year. When my mom brought her fruit, she would politely decline out of modesty, but I don't know when it started. She became more and more greedy. If I made her unhappy, she would warn me, don't even think about marrying my granddaughter in the future. Next week is Ita Makoto's birthday. I suddenly realized what kind of rich second-generation kid would care about a 500 yuan pair of sneakers. So I said, Ruyan, don't you think this sports car looks incredibly cool? She glanced at it, and said impatiently, it's alright, I guess. I sighed and said, you don't understand. We men all have a dream of owning a luxury car. I searched up another 3,000 yuan watch, showed it to Lu Ruyan, and said, driving a luxury car and wearing a famous watch. What guy wouldn't like that? She froze for a moment and said, is that so? I said, absolutely. Haven't you heard the saying? The poor play with cars, the rich play with watches. I can't afford either, so I can only play on my computer. These are luxuries that only the rich second generation deserve. Lu Ruyan's eyes shifted slightly. She nodded thoughtfully. Delightful, she finally took the bait. But there are only 6 days left. I'm curious where this money will come from. Lu Ruyan found a part-time job. It's not easy going to wash dishes for people every day after school. She actually looked for a job too. She must be running low on money. Washing dishes for a short time definitely won't make that much money. I am her white moonlight. As long as she needs it, I will help her, provided that I have the ability. In the evening, Lu Ruyan called me, Brother G. I ran into some trouble. She sounded anxious. I played along. Oh, what's wrong? She said while riding her bike, she accidentally scratched someone else's car. I said with concern, Ruyan, you're not hurt, right? She said she wasn't hurt. It's just that the owner wants me to pay 5,000 yuan in compensation. Is he trying to pocket the difference? I hurriedly said, Ruyan, where are you? I'll come find you right now, lest the owner bullies you. Lu Ruyan fell silent. She said, Brother G, you don't need to come over. I'm afraid he'll make things difficult for you. I get it. The car scratch is fake. She said, can you transfer me 5,000 yuan first? Otherwise, the owner is going to sue me. I put on a difficult expression, Ruyan, where would I get that much money? She said, then what should I do? Her voice already had a crying tone. She said, how about you ask your mom to borrow some money for me first? Once I deal with the owner, I will definitely pay your mom back. I was speechless. Seeing that I didn't speak, Lu Ruyan sobbed, boo-hoo, Brother G. I originally wanted to save money from my part-time job to buy you a watch, but I ended up making a mess of things. Why can't I do anything right? Brother G, am I useless? Yes, you are. She choked up and said, I wanted to give you a surprise after buying it. I lowered my voice and said in a heartbroken tone, Sister Ruyan, why are you so silly? Working part-time so late, just to buy a watch for me. Yen Yen, you are really too good to me. In the future when I have money, I will definitely make it up to you. When the time comes, I'll buy you whatever you want, Yen Yen. Lu Ruyan sniffled and said, "Thank you, Brother G." I didn't care at all about what she said, and continued to paint a beautiful lie. Ruyan, I will definitely work hard to make money. Lu Ruyan said, "Brother G, right now I interrupted her and said, "You don't need to say it, I understand everything. I love you too, believe me, everything we should have. We will have it in the future. Don't talk about the future right now," she shouted. Ruyan, don't you believe me? I didn't listen to what she said. Continue talking nonsense and painting empty promises. Lu Ruyan said in exasperation. G Boda, listen to me first. The top priority is to pay the car owner back for the repairs. G Boda, can you please help me? I hesitated. But my mom isn't home. I'll call her right now. Okay, call her quickly. My mom really wasn't home. She had gone to my maternal grandmother's house. I took a taxi and headed to my grandmother's house too. On the way, I let Lu Ruyan call me repeatedly, ignoring her completely. Turning off the phone would seem too deliberate, so I put it on silent, and intentionally didn't answer. In the morning, Lu Ruyan came to find me in the classroom. G Boda, where did you go last night? I called you, why didn't you answer? With a face full of guilt, I said, I'm sorry, Ruyan. My mom went to my grandmother's house, so I went to find her, but I forgot my phone at home. I'm so sorry. $5,000 was too much. Our family really couldn't afford it. Since there were other classmates in the room, she didn't want to bring up the borrowing of money, and left in a hurry. Before leaving, she dropped a line. The car owner gave me a 3-day extension, to pay the money back. During these 3 days, Lu Ruyan was incredibly busy, working a part-time job while venting her grievances to me. She said, Brother G, I got a $2,000 advance from the store owner, but I'm still short by $3,000. What should I do? No middleman profit this time. With Ito Makoto's birthday just around the corner, Lu Ruyan couldn't wait any longer, and neither could I. After school on Friday, I ran into someone by chance. We are shooting another drama. Are you interested in acting? The role I was to play was a wealthy second-generation heir, with only a brief scene, and 3 lines of dialogue. I just had to throw a basketball at the female lead, and taunt her with a few words. The crew had already coordinated with the school. They were going to shoot a few scenes at our campus over the weekend. I could confirm it wasn't a scam, as I wasn't the only extra. They had recruited a few other students as well. The job was completed easily. Looking at the $5,000 that hit my phone account, my heart was filled with endless emotions. In the end, I was still the one who made this money. On Ito Makoto's birthday, Lu Ruyan ultimately still gifted that pair of sneakers. That $500 must have been advanced by the restaurant owner too, yet what I gained was $5,000. The plot really favors the female lead, Hui Jing, accommodating her to the absolute maximum. So, I started recommending beauty influencers to her from time to time, subtly making her feel that if she wanted to catch Ito Makoto's attention, she needed to learn makeup and styling. She bought a lipstick, and I made $800. She bought a bottle of perfume, and I made $1,500. She bought a dress, and I made $3,000. She bought a bag, and I made $20,000. Of course, just like the last time I tricked her into gifting Ito Makoto a watch, I repeated the same trick several times. Action figures, models, handheld consoles, graphics cards, keyboards, mice. I made an absolute fortune. In the original plot, Lu Ruyan also constantly demanded that I buy her clothes and cosmetics, though they weren't this expensive. But every single cent was blood sucked from me and my parents. Now that she couldn't get any money from me, every penny she spent was borrowed from elsewhere. As for where she borrowed it from, I had no idea. Either way, it wasn't me paying it back. However, what I never expected was that just because I had Lu Ruyan gift things to Ito Makoto, he actually seemed to take a liking to Lu Ruyan, simply because no girl had ever proactively given him gifts before. This made him feel that Lu Ruyan wasn't a gold digger, and he even started proactively giving her a lot of things. Miscalculation. I had tried to warn Ito Makoto, but it didn't seem to work. Everyone has their own destiny. It was already good enough if I could save myself. After all, in the original plot, I died a horrific death just to save him. When the senior year of high school started, textbook and uniform fees needed to be paid, yet our family showed no intention of paying for Lu Ruyan. I had told my mom long ago that she was absolutely forbidden from paying for Lu Ruyan anymore. Brother G, why haven't my textbook fees been paid yet? The teacher is already rushing me, since she could no longer get any benefits from me. Lu Ruyan no longer had her past patience with me, but after all, she still needed me. And plus, with me putting on an act of being completely infatuated with her, we hadn't completely fallen out yet. I let out a sigh and said, Ruyan, you know our family's financial situation isn't good, we really don't have any money left. With a cold face, she said, then what about you? You were able to pay your fees on time, why didn't you pay for mine? This self-righteous attitude made me want to slap her, but I still took a deep breath, and with a slight tone of grievance, I said, does our family even have money? Since you didn't pay, of course I didn't pay either. But Ruyan, I'm a top student, so it's free for me. Lu Ruyan's eyebrows furrowed tightly. Biting her lip, she said, Brother G, you've changed. Do you not like me anymore? My eyes widened, my face entirely filled with incomprehension and disappointment toward her. I said, Ruyan, how can you say that about me? Is it just because I can't give you money, that you question my feelings for you? You've changed. You've become shallow. You're no longer my pure little sister Ruyan. After delivering a heavy dose of moral condemnation, I turned around and walked away, regardless of her reaction. Ji Boda and Lu Ruyan failed to get any benefits from me. Grandma Lu came to the front of my house and cursed loudly. Heartless wretches. Promised to pay for my granddaughter's tuition, but didn't give any money. Pretending to be generous when you have no money. Made my granddaughter lose her student status. Heartless bastards. My mom was so angry she rushed out to confront her. I stopped her, not panicking at all. She can't beat me when it comes to making a scene. That old lady has a loud voice. Let her shout a bit longer to bring all the neighbors out to watch the drama. When the timing was about right, I opened the door and went out, facing a crowd of gossiping eyes. Seeing me come out, the old lady grew even more aggressive and said, You brat, broke as hell, how do you deserve my granddaughter? My eyes narrowed. My mouth pouted, pinched my thigh hard, squeezing out a couple of tears. My voice was raspy as I said, Grandma Lu, please let us go. Our family really has no money left. My parents supported Gong Ruyan through school for over 10 years. Raised her like their own daughter, isn't that enough? For your granddaughter's 10,000 yuan. My dad worked himself to exhaustion and got hospitalized. You don't care about my dad, but I do. The onlookers started criticizing Grandma Lu in dissatisfaction, saying, Old lady, you should just go back. Don't make such an ugly scene. Auntie Lu, Ji Boda's parents raised your granddaughter for so many years. You can't bite the hand that fed you. Exactly, over these years. Whatever Ji Boda had, when did Ruyan ever get less? People have eyes. How our family treated Lu Ruyan all these years. Everyone can see clearly. Seeing she couldn't out-talk me, the old lady instantly sat on the ground crying in pain. Oh, my lower back. My heart hurts. You have Lu Ruyan letting her grandma come out to make a scene, while she hides at home enjoying the benefits. I immediately knocked on her door. Ruyan, can you stop letting your grandma make a scene? It's keeping everyone from resting. I'll go look for a job tomorrow. I'll definitely scrounge up the money for you. But your grandma is old. She'll ruin her health getting this angry. Take her home to rest quickly. Hearing this, the people around started whispering. Lu Ruyan is so inconsiderate, letting her grandma come out to cause a scene without doing anything. Ji Boda's family raised her for so many years. They really raised an ungrateful wretch. Now Lu Ruyan couldn't hide even if she wanted to. The moment she opened the door, she raised her hand to slap me. She choked back tears and said, Ji Boda, I misjudged you. You are so selfish and cold-blooded. Of course, I didn't dodge. You girl, why are you hitting people? A neighbor auntie criticized her. I shook my head and said, It's okay, auntie, I don't blame her. Ruyan is already so miserable. The auntie said helplessly, They're kids of the same age. You're so sensible. Not like that damn girl. Furious, Lu Ruyan glared at me. Then she pulled up the old lady who was still faking illness on the ground and went back inside. She said, Ji Boda, I will never forgive you. Since you treated me like this, don't expect me to like you ever again. I was speechless. Lu Ruyan's tuition was eventually paid. Makoto Ita paid it for her. I was even more speechless. But her mood still didn't seem very good, probably from being hounded by debt collectors. She was busy with part-time jobs, she couldn't even focus on her studies. By chance, I found out she was selling the gifts Makoto Ita gave her, on a second-hand platform. She started coming to apologize to me again. Brother G, what I said that day was just out of anger. I was just too worried about Grandma. But I raised my hand to push her away. My tone was sorrowful and resolute. I said, Ryan, you don't need to say anything. I understand. Your grandma was right. I'm the one who doesn't deserve you. Go find someone better. You have my best wishes. Obviously, Lu Ryan has a strong sense of entitlement. I said I didn't deserve her, and she couldn't even argue with that, but she had no way to make up with me, no way to get any benefits from me. She was bursting with rage, but had no reason to get mad at me. After all, I was just a devoted simp whose love was unrequited. While Lu Ryan wanted to hold on to Makoto Ita, the rich heir, she also had to deal with the debt collectors. She had absolutely no energy left to bother with me. My life returned to peace. The next time I heard news about her was during winter break when she was injured and hospitalized after being beaten up. The other party was Makoto Ita's childhood friend, Shu Tingting. Word is she publicly accused Miss Shu of seducing her boyfriend, and even slapped her. Yet Makoto Ita had never even made things official with Lu Ryan. Plus, the Shu family is powerful and influential, not to be messed with. As a result, Shu Tingting got a perforated eardrum, and Lu Ryan lost sight in one eye. But Lu Ryan was the one who hit first. That Shu Tingting acted in self-defense. In the original plotline, Makoto Ita had already fallen for Lu Ryan. Don't know what method he used to make the Shu family drop the charges against Lu Ryan. He even paid for Lu Ryan's surgery, and came to the hospital to take care of her every day. And the person who donated a cornea to Lu Ryan was me. She was deeply moved. So after I died, she took frantic revenge on Makoto Ita. I took the evidence of Lu Ryan selling the luxury goods Makoto Ita gave her for cash, as well as her online loan records, and mailed them anonymously to the Ita family. Makoto Ita has no brains, but I refuse to believe his whole family has no brains either. I paid a visit to the hospital, not to visit Lu Ryan, just simply to see how things were going. Sure enough, Makoto Ita wasn't there. Heard he was locked up by his family. Without him waiting on her hand and foot, Lu Ryan was living miserably. The moment she saw me, Lu Ryan looked as if she had just seen her savior. She said, Brother G, can you please help me? You're all I have left. I sighed and said, Lu Ryan, how can I help you? I'm just an ordinary guy. I have no power, no influence, and no money. No, you have a way. You can definitely save me. Lu Ryan's tone was incredibly certain. She said, the debt collectors keep pressuring me, and my family wants to hold me accountable too. I can't see out of my left eye anymore either. Brother G, you could take out a loan from a loan shark. Once I recover, I'll definitely find a way to pay it back. Can you please help me? I didn't refuse. I just said, let me go back and think of a way. This was all her own doing. She insisted on getting close to Ito Makoto, and insisted on borrowing money to fund her lifestyle. No one forced her. And also, she was the one who slapped Shu Tingting, without considering the consequences at all. Just because she's the female lead, she thinks she can do whatever she wants. After all, someone always cleans up her messes. How did a dumb and toxic gold digger like her and Ito Makoto ever become the main characters? I am absolutely not donating my cornea. I am not going to donate my cornea. Meanwhile, Lu Ryan needs to pay off her debts, compensate the Shu family for their medical expenses, and she still wants to get surgery to fix her eye. This amount of money is no small sum. I felt a bit unsure. How can an ordinary person get a large sum of cash all at once? The options are few and far between. Small flyers advertising kidney sales started popping up frequently at my doorstep. Even when I surfed the web, pop-ups for online loans would appear. Just when I was losing hope, I happened to walk past a lottery ticket store. I pulled out $10. Why not give it a shot just this once? Let's see if this plot is still willing to favor the female lead. The moment I scratched off the lottery ticket, I felt like I didn't hate Lu Ryan anymore. Thank you, my god of wealth. 3 million. 2.94 million after taxes. I took my mom with me to cash it in, but I didn't let her spread the word. I thought Lu Ryan was completely finished, but I underestimated the female lead's plot armor. Even without me acting as her provider, the male lead, Ito Makoto, used his own life to threaten his family, forcing them to step in and help Lu Ruyan, causing the Shu family to drop the lawsuit. Lu Ruyan's debts were cleared, but Ito Makoto was also forced to transfer schools. The Ito family helped Lu Ruyan one last time in exchange for Ito Makoto cutting ties with her. None of this had anything to do with me anymore. At least I saved myself. I participated in the math Olympiad, and secured a guaranteed admission spot. In the original plot, Lu Ruyan played the victim in front of me. She said, if my parents were still here, they would definitely want me to go to a good university. Brother G, your grades are so good. You'll still get into this university through the college entrance exam. But I'm different. With just a few words, she made me willingly give up my spot. But now, given how distant our relationship is, she probably won't bring it up, because she knows very well that I won't agree. Ito Makoto called my phone. He said in a humble tone, is this G Boda? How is Lu Ruyan doing? Has she been discharged from the hospital? I can't get in touch with her. Confused, I asked, how do you know my phone number? He said, I have a friend who is in the same class as you. How is Lu Ruyan doing now? Before I could say anything, there was a burst of static on the other end, and he hung up in a hurry. He must have made the call in secret. I got guaranteed admission to Jinda University. My dad specifically came back to celebrate with me. The day he came back was incredibly coincidental. It happened to be the very day I was supposed to die. In the original plot, Ito Makoto would sneak out over the wall today to look for Lu Ruyan, only to run into a group of thugs nearby. Lu Ruyan was over at my place for dinner, and happened to leave her phone with me. I answered Ito Makoto's call for help, and ran out to find him. I was stabbed to death. Lu Ruyan was heartbroken, and broke ties with Ito Makoto. Out of guilt, Ito Makoto made all kinds of money transfers to her, even labeling them as voluntary gifts. Lu Ruyan used my guaranteed admission spot to go to college, and relying on Ito Makoto's support, after she built her own career, she began to take revenge on Ito Makoto, ruining his family's business. Ito Makoto ended up penniless and living on the streets, yet he still knelt before Lu Ruyan, begging for her forgiveness with all his heart. I was completely speechless. I was the one who freaking saved him, okay? The person he owed an apology to should have been me. How come I never saw her take care of my mom and dad? At dinner, my parents made a whole table of food. Lu Ruyan showed up anyway. The gauze on her face hadn't been removed yet. Her face was pale, and she looked very weak. Brother G, I came to congratulate you. I said, no need, you can leave. For the first time, I didn't fake it, treating her with absolute coldness. I had no choice. I was afraid I might lose my life tonight. But she said, G Boda, I'm not doing anything. I just wanted to come and give you a gift. She held up the cake and the tote bag in her hands. She said, in the past, you were always the one preparing surprises for me. This time, I wanted to do something for you too. Seeing Lu Ruyan's eye, my mom still felt a bit bad for her. After all, she had watched Lu Ruyan grow up. Boda, let her in. It's just a meal. No. My attitude was very firm. Lu Ruyan said timidly, Auntie, G Boda is mad at me. I won't go in. After saying that, she put down the cake and the gift and left. I instantly breathed a sigh of relief. My parents didn't say anything either. After all, old Mrs. Lu coming to our house to make a scene before had completely broken their hearts. I sat back down at the dining table and continued eating. Wait, Lu Ruyan's attitude wasn't right. I had never openly broken formatting with her, and always pretended to love her deeply, but when she was injured and hospitalized, I didn't care at all. Now that she came to my house, I forcefully kicked her out too. Didn't she find that strange? And she acted very timid just now, looking completely submissive. That doesn't look like her. What's wrong, Boda? My mom placed a piece of rib in my bowl and asked suspiciously. I dropped my chopsticks, and ran straight to the gift bag left by the door. Inside was a scarf. I rummaged through it, and actually found a phone hidden at the bottom. Was it a plot-driven coincidence? Or did Lu Ruyan do this on purpose after awakening? There was no time to think. I took the items and knocked on Lu Ruyan's door. Grandma Lu asked, what are you doing here? Let me tell you, don't expect me to ever agree to you marrying Lu Ruyan. I didn't bother wasting my breath on her. She was still cursing and swearing, as I impatiently threw the bag at her and said, take Lu Ruyan's things back. Only when I got home did my anxious heart finally settle down. After dinner, I went to my room early to play on my phone. I told my parents that if Lu Ruyan came back, they must not open the door. She loves Yi Tingqing so much, so she can go save him herself. The worst case scenario is just calling the police. After all, there's nothing I can do anyway. It's not like I can go take a knife for him again. But no matter how much I calculated, I didn't count on Yi Tingqing actually calling my phone. Yi Tingqing had called me once before, so I remembered this number. I was truly terrified. Is the will of the plot really that powerful? Am I going to be teleported out of thin air into that alleyway and get stabbed to death? Looking at the constantly flashing screen, I felt extremely torn inside. It's impossible for me to be completely unaffected by the original plot. I used to protect Yi Tingqing, yet she showered all her guilt and devotion onto Lu Ruyan. Even my parents met a tragic end. Deep down, I hated him. But then I thought, maybe he is also just being manipulated by the plot. We are both victims. After a fierce internal struggle, I sighed, and answered the call anyway. Ji Boda, I'm near your house. I think I'm being followed by a few people. Can you do me a favor? His volume was very low, as if he was cautious about something, but I said, head toward a crowded area first. I hung up the phone, and dialed the nearest police station. Dialing 110 requires a transfer, so this was a number I had saved in advance just in case. Calling the police was the only thing I could do. There is no way in hell I am stepping out of this door today. Since I was the one who reported it, the police came to me to get details. Something still happened to Yi Tingqing. The police arrived in time, so the thugs didn't get a chance to do anything. But Yi Tingqing was hit by a car, and he is still unconscious right now. It was clearly an accident, but having awakened to the plot, I found it highly unnatural. Lu Ruyan came to my classroom, her face full of hatred as she said, Ji Boda, you're the one who ruined Yi Tingqing. If anything happens to him, I will never forgive you. Looking at the blatant hatred in her eyes, I only felt a sense of irony. The white moonlight and the male lead had swapped roles. The one who got into an accident was Yi Tingqing, and Lu Ruyan ended up hating me. Yi Tingqing is still not out of danger yet. Does one of us really have to die? The surrounding classmates burst into whispers. Lu Ruyan, cut the bullshit. When Yi Tingqing got into trouble, I was the one who called the police for him. The police arrived in time too. He ended up in the hospital because he was hit by a car. Lu Ruyan's eyes were bloodshot. She pointed her finger at me and said, if you had gone to save him, he wouldn't have met with an accident. I laughed and said, why should I go? Lu Ruyan definitely knows about the plot now. I said my calling the police was already doing more than enough. Lu Ruyan, why are you so certain that if I went, Yi Tingqing wouldn't have been hurt? Her face froze, and she avoided my question. She said, it's all your fault that Yi Tingqing was hurt. You are the sinner. I sneered and said, the law will judge what's right and wrong. You have your own shameful motives, so stop throwing dirt on me. Afraid that Lu Ruyan would cause trouble for me, I asked the teacher for a leave of absence. I had already been early admitted to university anyway, so the teacher didn't ask many questions. This is the life I fought so hard to keep, so I have to cherish it. My mom is already looking at houses. We will be able to move very soon, and stay far away from Lu Ruyan. On this day, I received a call from an unfamiliar number. Hello, I am Yi Tingqing's mother. Can we meet up? I made a somewhat impolite request. I said, could you come to my house instead? Yi's mother was an elegant and gentle woman. I poured her a glass of water, and said apologetically, I'm sorry, Auntie, someone has been causing trouble for me lately, so I try to go out as little as possible. She smiled gently, not upset at all. She said, I came here because I wanted to thank you. If it weren't for you, I don't even know what kind of danger Ah Cheng would have faced. I asked how Yi Tingqing was doing now. He said he woke up a long time ago. He just kept it quiet from the outside world. That's good then. Imu hesitated for a moment. She asked softly, I always feel like there's something weird about you and Acheng. And that Lu Ruyan too. Is there something going on between you guys that I don't know about? She continued. I don't even know how to ask my son. He didn't used to be like this, but he's been really off lately. Seeing her distressed look, I frowned anxiously. If I told her about the plot, she'd probably think I'm crazy, right? Seeing that I remained silent, she continued. Yesterday, Acheng took a private jet to the US overnight. He didn't even get his cast removed yet. He insisted on leaving and even said he wanted to drop out of school. I was surprised that he fled. I asked why. Imu said, I'm not sure either. He originally wanted to thank you in person, but he seemed terrified. He insisted on going abroad, so he sent me to look for you. He told me to say thank you, and that he's grateful you were willing to save him. Also, the Yi family will teach Lu Rian a lesson, so you can set your mind at ease. Hearing this, I pretty much figured out what was going on. Must be nice to be rich. Woke up in the morning, fled by the evening. She said Cheng is recovering abroad right now. Once the drama with Lu Rian blows over, he'll come find you, because he wants to be friends with you. I smiled and said, then I wish him a speedy recovery. From Imu, I also learned some other things I didn't know about. It turned out Ito Chang's call was recorded. When he realized something was wrong, the first person he called was actually Lu Rian. But Lu Rian said, Cheng, it's too late. My grandma won't let me go out. Go find Ji Boda. She's nearby too. No wonder Ito Cheng called me instead. I shrugged and said, Auntie, you might not believe this if I say it, but Lu Rian brings bad luck. Anyone who gets close to her is doomed. Imu was speechless. She let out a couple of awkward laughs and said, she really isn't a good person. Before leaving, she handed me a bank card. Well, it would be a lie to say I didn't want it, but how could I accept it? But she was so polite and gentle, it actually made me too embarrassed to take it. After all, besides calling the police, I didn't really do much. I scratched my head and said, I just made a quick phone call, I didn't really do anything. Imu smiled and said, just take it. This money isn't mine. It's the New Year's lucky money Cheng saved up over the years. It's not up to me anyway. It's just lucky money. It's not much. Just take it to buy some snacks. She said, you didn't just save his life. You saved our entire family. Ito Cheng is an only child. Imu believed that saving a child is equivalent to saving a family, but I caught a different meaning behind it. In a sense, Ito Cheng's awakening and mine did indeed change the destiny of the Yi family. Since it was Ito Cheng's lucky money, I didn't act overly modest, and just accepted it. Regarding the previous incident where Lu Rian injured Shu Tingting, she was sued by the Shu family. She was sent to prison for intentional assault, and the Yi family had loaned her a huge sum of money before, which they are now demanding back. I completely put my mind at ease. Old Mrs. Lu came to my house to make a scene again. Listening to the crying and shouting outside the door, my parents and I were packing up our things inside the room. I said, let's go. Once we move to the new house, we won't have to deal with this nonsense anymore. Having nothing to do, I suddenly remembered the card Ito Cheng gave me. I didn't know until I checked, but checking gave me a huge shock. This is just lucky money. This is what Imu called not much money. This is money to buy some snacks. Even if I were Yangzi, I couldn't eat this much. How on earth did I, Ji Boda, get lucky enough to meet two gods of wealth?